Good afternoon, commodities traders. Welcome back to the daily commodities update show where we update you guys on natural gas, gold, and silver, as well as the dollar. And today we'll be doing support and resistance levels as well, and what's the most likely scenario where the price is heading, and also the psychology of why these technical analysis work and why it increases our probability of our trades. And let's get started. So we are looking at natural gas, NG, and since yesterday, I was talking about that we don't have any signs of it topping out yet. And today we saw initial signs of now that it potentially may top out. So yesterday we closed at the high of its day at 2.81, just right here at the resistance level. And I said that if we break that, we are very likely coming back up to this 2.86. That's our next level of resistance. And it looks like so far we have rejected from that 2.86 level. And so when I talk about closing, price action closing at the high of its day or the low of its day, that just means that, for example, here at the high of its day, means that the bulls could have gone further, but the day ended. So there was just not enough time for the bulls to go further. And obviously, it doesn't mean it's always going to go further the next day. But the psychology of it is they ran out of time, or they could have gone further. And same thing on the downside. If you close at the low of its day, means the bears probably could have gone further as well, and they just ran out of time. Right now, we have to ask ourselves: is natural gas potentially topping out here? And let's zoom in. So we zoom into the hourly chart, and we can say that we are seeing initial signs of it rejecting from this 2.86. We don't have a hourly downtrend yet. So let's say on the next bounce here, let's take a look how much we dropped so far. So 4%. So now it's making enough room for bears to potentially form that hourly downtrend now. You guys know how I always talk about the size of the bounce and the size of the drop is very important. So the psychology behind it is if we have a big enough drop, if the bulls bounce, there's just a lot of room for bears to work with where they can bring it down lower than its prior low. So let's say this drop was just only to like here, right? So when bulls bounce, they pretty much bounce already almost 100% of the bounce. So there's just not a lot of room for bears to try to buy that, short that lower high, right? That's why the size of the bounce or the size of the drop very important. So because even with bulls bounce now 2%, say we bounce 2%, right? Bears still have room to short it for it to go below this prior low for a hourly downtrend to come from. Now this 4% drop, we can potentially say this could be a temporary top because we pretty much gave back all of today's gains, and we are now looking for hourly downtrend. And if the hourly downtrend shapes up, then we can safely say daily consolidation is on its way. And daily consolidation means that the next candle needs to go below the prior candle. So we don't have a daily consolidation yet as of all. This is just one straight move up. And say tomorrow we go below today's low, then daily consolidation is on its way. So when I'm looking at when daily consolidation starts, you guys know how I talk about trend changes all the time. So I want to see a daily trend change on natural gas. Otherwise, all the bulls are going to be scared because look at this. Look at these moves. 22% without a daily trend change, right? Straight shot up, and the next thing we know, we faded all back and went even lower. Same thing, multiple times back here. 52% without a trend change, right? This is a straight move up with zero trend changes. And then we give it all back and even more. Over here, we had a trend change here. This is a daily uptrend, meaning this pivot is higher than this pivot. And then we broke above the higher high. That's a daily trend change here. And another pivot is set. And you can see we have two pivots being set. We don't just kind of like V-shape all the way back down. And that means the opposite of a V-shape, but then go down and give it all back. We actually hold the levels higher than where we came from. So that's why trend changes are so important. They act as support and resistance levels in those areas and form structures for the charts to be more stable and the foundation. So what I'm looking at, if I were a bull, I want to see trend changes. So the next time we consolidate on the daily charts, I want to see bulls actually are serious about buying natural gas for and setting those pivots a higher low, meaning higher than this low. So we can pull back. Say let's measure this. Pull back. So from the bottom of the move, A to B. That's where we measure it. And let's say we pull back all the way back here to this 38.2% level. So meaning we pull back 38.2% of the initial move. And that means we're still in a bull flag territory. So the most ideal scenario for me is, let's say tomorrow we just drop just a little bit more, and then we hit this 0.382 and then bounce. That would give bulls some confidence that this may be a daily bull flag, and we can potentially retest that 2.86 again. And if we bounce from there and break 2.86, then that's the absolute best scenario bulls can ask for, because we will have a daily uptrend confirmed and a daily bull flag confirmed at the same time. Obviously, we won't always get the most ideal scenario, but that's what we can be looking at for when it pulls back. So if it does pull back more than 0.382, then we'll be looking at the 50% retracement level. So if we bounce above the 50% retracement level, that means it's still favoring the bulls on the bounce. But if we get below the 50% retracement, then it's going to start to favor the bears on the next bounce, where they may start to form that daily downtrend, just like right here. See, we try to bounce and then form the daily downtrend from the bears. So that is the scenario we'll be looking at to see the retracements of natural gas on these tomorrow and Monday. See how far it's going to retrace before it can bounce, right? If, for example, something like this, it retraced so much that it barely bounced, then we're going to say this is a red flag. And obviously, there's no bull flags on the tail anymore for anything like that. So the key for me is the size of the retracement, and as well as is bulls going to be serious about buying that higher low up to form a daily uptrend or not. And our very first clue would be a hourly downtrend. As of now, we don't have that yet, so we can probably shape that up tomorrow or not. And tomorrow, let's say we just bounce tomorrow, right? That could be a potential as well, because we could form a tiny range here. So initial move up, big move down, and the next moves are always within the prior move. So that's a tightening range. So that's usually what happens sometimes when the big move up and big move down. The next moves usually can tighten up. And then after you finish tightening up, it'll break. That's when we know which direction it'll head. So if tomorrow we bounce right away and then don't get above today's high, then that tightening range is likely shaping up. So those are two scenarios that we'll be looking at into tomorrow. Yeah, because this is a indecision candle. We tested the top, rejected it, came back down here. You guys know how this maroon looking like resistance we've been looking at. So when it came down here, it acted as support because we are above it and bounced. So and now we close pretty much right in the middle between of the two. That's an indecision candle, and tomorrow we'll get more information to see if it ends up being a tiny range where the candle ends up closing pretty much in the middle again within the prior candle, or we will get more idea to see which way it'll break to the upside or the downside. So will be pretty key, actually. If it's a tightening range, then we'll probably tighten it into like Tuesday, next Tuesday, Wednesday. But if it's not, then we'll get exactly what we want to know tomorrow. All right. And UNG, which is a tradable ticker for natural gas. Same thing. Broke above, came back below, bounced above, came back to the middle. And take a look to see. Thing I don't like is we broke above this prior high. Go to the daily, it's more clear. So we broke up this prior high over here, confirm a daily uptrend for the very first time. And today we actually went above it. Now we actually closed below it. That's like a daily uptrend confirmed lacking follow through. But you can also say natural gas hasn't confirmed a daily uptrend and it's just doing its thing. So so it's more important to just look at nat gas versus UNG. But you still want to see this daily uptrend to have some follow through because we got above it, got above the prior pivot, came straight back below it. And let's take a look at the hourly chart to see if anything, any supports that we're seeing. So this 200 moving average EMA, sorry, not EMA, just MA, moving average. Interesting enough, acting as support. I've never seen this before because I don't usually use it on the hourly chart, but just so happens to act as resistance here. And then see when we're above it, act as support, and we also act as support here. That can be a short-term thing you got traders that you can look for. And same thing, this could be a tiny range and tiny up and then break above or below after that into Tuesday. And let me take a look to see if it acted as anything before. No, not much history of the 200 on the hour. So just recently. But yeah, same thing. I want to see an hourly downtrend confirm if the bears are serious here. And if not, it could just be a initial drop and tightening up into equilibrium. Yeah, as of now, no signs of any serious downside yet until I see the hourly downtrend shape up as a very initial step for the bears. And that, nothing too significant other than that bull break lacking follow through that I don't like on the bull side. But for your bears, definitely want to break this yesterday's low, 6.92, and and then you'll be looking to break this August 29th's low, this 6.72. If that breaks, then we're back to a neutral trend. So this is a daily uptrend confirmed, lacking follow through, and then if we break that below the prior pivots, it's back to a neutral trend. And that wouldn't be that would be pretty bad for the bulls because that means net gas would probably be down here because of this area. But as of now, no signs of that yet until I see an hourly downtrend. All right, boil and cold. It's just the 2x leverage short long side. This boil is long side for UNG. So they move exactly the same, but you just don't want to chart the 2x because the leverage charts are not meant to be charts. And cold is just the 2x on the short side. Move exactly the same as UNG, but on the short side. So be direct opposite. Meaning if UNG goes down 2% because you're on the short side, you will be up 4% on the cold. That makes sense. And then on the long side for boil, if UNG is up 2%, boil would be up 4%. All right, let's take a look at gold. Gold. So much today going on. Yesterday we talked about where we want to see gold probably go sideways for a bit because dollar might be making that head and shoulders. So let's take a look at the dollar, see if it's making that head and shoulders. The dollar is a headwind, gold, and all other metals as well. So yep, it looks like it's shaping out. Yesterday I talked about this neckline right here, and this could potentially be a daily head and shoulders where gold dollar may bounce and gold and silver may take a break, and then we'll see if after that bounce are we going to shape up that right shoulder, and it pretty much bounced exactly. A little bit stronger than what the metal bulls would like to see because it's an inverse correlation. But so tomorrow Monday will be very key if dollar can get above this 103.6 level or not. Even if we get a slight candle above it and then come back down, I would still say that's a head and shoulders because the psychology of it is just a uptrend into a downtrend. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit above it or a little bit below it. It's a trend that matters more on those patterns. So we go back to gold. Makes sense. See that pop on the dollar, and we are a little bit weaker today. And yeah, as long as we hold 1940, and then if dollar forms that head and shoulders, then you'll have a red candle tomorrow, and gold may head a little bit higher. Now, no signs of red flags, and when we head higher, this black looking line would be my next level of resistance because of it's a long-term support back for since November. So it's going to act as resistance when we come back up to it. All right, let's take a look at silver. Silver, similar, but slightly weaker. Ever since it hits resistance, it becomes relative weakness. And you guys know I talk about relative weakness and relative strength. It shifts when it hits resistance or support. So it hit resistance. It went from relative strength down here compared to gold to now relative weakness. And we pretty much exactly where this spot makes sense because the more resistance in one area, the more likely it will reject eventually. And yeah, we have a couple here, and a bunch of volume here. So it makes sense to reject and come back. Very likely come back down to here where it bounced pretty much today because this was acting as prior resistance. So near-term resistance can act as support when we come back down to it. So tomorrow, if dollar pulls back, I want to see silver bounce and retest this zone again. If not, then it's going to be a lot weaker when dollar decides to bounce. So if dollar goes lower tomorrow and silver doesn't bounce, when dollar bounces again, silver is going to drop even harder. So let's see if it ends up shaping up that head and shoulders and the metals retest their prior resistance again. All right, that's got for you guys. And yeah, if you guys want to look at the stock market update videos, QQQ S&P 500, as well as the 7 mega cap tech stocks, Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta. I'll be uploading that video in about half an hour-ish, depending on the size of the video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for more natural gas update. Actually, I will be posting natural gas on Saturday because tomorrow is Friday. So I'll just do a stock market video on Friday and then a natural gas video on Saturday. So I'll see you guys on Saturday for your commodities traders. And for you guys stock market traders, I'll see you guys tomorrow and later today as well. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. And if you're subscribed, you guys made it this far, all likes and shares are appreciated. All right. See you guys later.